with the transition happening, what are the main products and services provided by your company?
Ebara and Elliot, we've been serving the energy industry for about 100 years actually each. And so for the last 20 years we've been co-owned, the same ownership. And both of these companies actually have a significant experience and history in the energy market. So Ebara has served that market for about 100 years. Elliot has served that. And so over the last 20 years we've been working together, and now for the last year or so we've actually reorganized and restructured to serve the energy market more integrally as a single company. That's called the Ebara Elliot Energy Company. Our main products, and we're a turbo machinery manufacturer, is really compressors, steam turbines, expanders, cryodynamic pumps, custom pumps, etc. So our main market is really the turbo machinery industry. And in the turbo machinery industry, you can really look at it from a perspective of, what do you do with energy? You transport energy, which is you get energy from point A to point B, which means you need a compressor or a pump to send that energy along a pipeline. Or you look at the conversion of energy, like a refinery, an olefins plant, an ethylene plant, etc. And in those kind of plants, you need turbo machinery in the conversion process of that energy. We really serve all of these industries, but our primary and historically most significant market is really refineries, olefins, ethylene plants, polyethylene type plants. But we've also got a significant customer base on the transportation side and on other sides where you need turbo machinery, such as power generation with our steam turbines.
So now with the new logo coming into picture, are you looking at expanding your industry vertical?
Well, the energy industry is drastically changing right now. We're moving from what used to be a hydrocarbon-based energy, oil, gas, natural gas primarily. We're transitioning that into a decarbonized energy industry. And that decarbonized energy industry, which is really what our customers are doing, for us to be successful in that industry, we have to follow our customers and what their needs are. So at this point in time, you need hydrogen, you need carbon dioxide, you need all these other gases that you didn't worry about maybe 30 years ago. You need turbo machinery for these kind of gases. So we are in the process of developing novel turbo machinery for hydrogen compression, hydrogen in liquid form pumping, carbon dioxide, the same thing, expansion, compression, pumping. Because the industry is changing, and we as a turbo machinery manufacturer, both on the Ebara side, which is mostly pumps, and on the Elliot side, which is compressors, steam turbines, and cryodynamic equipment, we need to change our equipment to meet these markets. So we're just following the market, but we've also taken a very aggressive stance on meeting this sustainability industry, right? Everybody's talking about sustainability. What does that really mean? It means decarbonization. And to meet that market interest, you have to have products that can handle decarbonizing fuels. Decarbonizing fuel is really just hydrogen, and we've talked about that already. And the other one, which is just as important, is carbon dioxide, because about 80% of the world's energy comes from fossil fuel power plants, right? Which means you have to do something with the carbon, the CO2, to get that transported away from where it's being produced into some kind of storage. And for that, again, you need compressors, pumps for transport, and for injection into geological formations.
With the energy transitioning, any major difference that you see from an R&D perspective when you are doing this renewable, net zero, and sustainability?
Yeah, it is a drastic change from what it was 15, 20 years ago. Now, I want to be clear on this. There's two areas. One is fossil fuels are not going to go away, right? As I mentioned before, 85% of the world's energy comes from fossil fuels, right? That's not going to go away. We're still building lots and lots of LNG facilities. They're not going to go for a long, long time. So we are clearly still emphasizing our traditional market, which is fossil fuel-based, oil and gas, and we're certainly going to support that forever because that's still the majority of the market right now. So we are developing technologies, we're developing product improvements in that sector, and that also drives efficiency improvement, and that also drives lower carbon emissions by having more efficient machinery in existing refineries, olefins plants, ethylene plants, etc. On the other side, this new hydrogen economy is going to happen eventually. Also, the decarbonization initiatives on fossil fuel power plants are going to happen fairly soon. And for those, you need new machinery. And those are really very, very drastic changes in the requirements for the technology that you need. And that's what's driving R&D right now drastically. So we at Ebara Elliot, we started investing about 4 or 5 years ago in a major plan to develop new machinery for this market. And so we have a new sustainability group that's an internal group that focuses just on decarbonization and sustainability. We also have a major product initiative on the R&D side and the product development side that's really focused on developing hydrogen products, carbon dioxide, ammonia pumping products, anything to do with decarbonization, because that's where the world is going to go.
Sir, how easy or difficult it is to get these innovations from a kilowatt to a megawatt facility, and also keeping the time frame and the cost into consideration?
Well, Ebara Elliot, we're not interested in small machinery. Our tradition has been we like large machinery. Our compressors tend to be in the 10,000 horsepower, 50,000 horsepower, 100,000 horsepower range. So our development process is not focused on those kilowatt, 1D, 10D horsepower kind of applications. We are developing machinery that is intended for 5,000 horsepower, 10,000 horsepower, and larger. What you see right now, especially with hydrogen, is pilot plants. They're all relatively small, and they don't need large machinery. But that is going to transition in the next couple of years to large facilities, because if the hydrogen economy is real, then people are going to have to take that seriously and build large hydrogen. We see here in India there are a number of large projects that are being studied by some of the major operators here in looking at developing green hydrogen facilities, blue hydrogen facilities. And for those, you need turbo machinery, and we'd be happy to supply the turbo machinery for that. Similarly, on the CO2 side, you need to decarbonize those plants. We're not interested in small power plants. We're interested in the large CO2 carbon sequestration facilities.
So when do we see a large-scale hydrogen plant being installed in India?
Hopefully as soon as possible, but I think for that you're going to have to talk to some of the operators here. We're just very happy to talk to them right now and to be able to supply equipment to them when they need it.
How is Ebara Elliot Energy helping in maintaining quality and reliability of products?
Elliot has always been known as kind of a focus on quality, right? We don't build equipment that is for many applications. We're really customized turbo machinery. We have a reputation in the world for very rugged and reliable equipment. So our focus, for example, for sustainability, is to maintain the focus on highest reliability and availability, because that's really what drives customer commercial viability of a facility. If your facility is down because of a compressor doesn't work 4 or 5% of the time, then you wouldn't buy equipment from us anymore, right? So our focus has always been, as Elliot and as Ebara, to develop the highest possible equipment that is viable.
So from an R&D perspective, what are your future plans and what are your vision for 2024?
Yeah, I can't really talk about something that we haven't released yet, but there are some major new product releases that we're expecting to come out in late 24 and 25. They're the new families of products related to decarbonization, so hydrogen, CO2, that will be released. Those products, again, I can't really talk about in detail. We have recently released some new products for hydrogen. Our FlexUp compressor is for hydrogen compression. That's more of a traditional technology modification and improvement. Our CO2 phase compression for carbon dioxide, we released that about a year ago. We've also released new control systems to make our machinery more reliable and more efficient. That's our Gemini control system. But we have, as a result of these major product development efforts that have been ongoing now for the last 4 or 5 years, we're planning to release in about a year to 2 years from now some new families of compressors that are a significant improvement of the state-of-the-art, specifically focused on hydrogen and carbon dioxide, also on the pump side on ammonia, and on the pump side on liquid hydrogen, on the expander side on liquid CO2 expansion, etc. So a lot of focus on decarbonized products, and there's going to be significant product releases coming out in the next 1.5 to 2 years.
One last question, sir. With so many varied technologies coming into picture, how easy or difficult it is to balance your R&D budget, because that's not easy.
No, and the interesting thing is that Ebara Elliot made a significant commitment toward sustainability, toward decarbonization, and made available a significant budget for these new product development. It's somewhat of an unheard amount of money that's being spent currently by us and probably by our competitors too to develop new technologies for these new markets. That is driven by the need to serve these markets, and that is also driven by that these technologies are very different from what we've done. If you develop let's say, a natural gas compressor for the last 50 or 60 years, and now you have to switch to hydrogen, that is a very different gas, very different safety consideration, very different thermodynamic properties, so it changes. So they need a lot of money on the R&D side.